The Fiat 600e is the latest electric car from the Italian brand. It shares a platform and a powertrain with the Jeep Avenger, a sister brand from the Stellantis group, meaning a range of up to 254 miles for this pure electric, high-riding family hatchback, with prices starting at just under £33,000.
Now, we really like the Jeep Avenger, not least because it is actually a properly compact car. That's one of the things that I think, it's quite a small car, yet it's got a decent range, and the Fiat 600e is much the same. So for the Fiat, you're looking at 4.17 metres long, which for some context is sort of between a Volkswagen Polo and Golf in length. So it really is kind of a usefully compact city car, yet it is also more than kind of big enough and mature enough if you want to do high mileage with it, if you're going on the motorway routinely. It is what I think Fiat would probably call a B+. So it's good in that respect because it's not huge. So many modern cars are getting a bit big, aren't they? And I think the fact that the Fiat and the Jeep sort of buck that trend is good. Now, you'll have to forgive me, we're out on the international launch. We don't have a huge amount of time with the car, so this may not be quite up to scratch with our normal CarGurus reviews, but hopefully it'll give you a good idea of what to expect with the Fiat 600e, which after all is quite a big model. Lots of people out there are looking for a car that's not too big, reasonably priced, decent range. And I think this could tick the boxes for a lot of people because it looks cool and it's really nice to drive. We're out in Turin around the company's very historic Mirafiori factory. This car is actually made in Poland. But nonetheless, Fiat have very, very deep roots here in Turin. So they wanted to show us their lovely factory, and this is where we're driving the car. And I can't blame Fiat for really pushing home the Italian point. I mean, you've got the Italian badge on the bumper. The colours are called things like Sun by Italy and, Sand by Italy, which absolutely isn't grey, by the way. Fiat said they're not doing grey cars anymore. I would say that Sand by Italy looks quite grey, but we'll gloss over that.
The dash is also rather striking, with a painted finish to match the car even in the 600e Red, which is the cheaper of the two trims on offer. A 10-inch colour touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto is standard too, and there's plenty of room in the back seats for two average-sized adults or for a couple of kids, but three will be a bit of a push. A 360-litre boot will be fine for most everyday family duties, although it is annoying that you have to go for top-spec La Prima to get a variable boot floor.
But it is a big price jump up. It's something like over £4,000 more than the cheaper red Fiat 600e. Anyway, even that's reasonably well equipped. You get your reversing sensors, you get the 10-inch touchscreen here, the Uconnect system, which we've seen on quite a few other Stellantis cars now as well. It's pretty good, the graphics are good, it's reasonably easy to use. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, I actually think it does a pretty good job, to be honest. Driving wise, definitely comfort oriented, the steering's really light, but it does the job. I do think it could do with more feedback. I think if you're comparing this to say the 2008 and the Jeep Avenger, which a lot of people will be, it feels agile enough actually. On some of the faster roads around here in Italy, it's been really quite good fun, but you don't get a huge amount of feedback through the steering wheel. It's absolutely fine for what you want it to do. 10.5 metre turning circle, so it's reasonably nippy and wieldy around town. I think it just does exactly what you want it to do. It's not massively fast, 9 seconds to 62. Front wheel drive, of course, you've got that single electric motor up front, and you have a 51 kilowatt hour usable battery for an official WLTP of 254 miles. All in, I think the Fiat 600e has got a lot going for it. I think that basic sort of sub £33,000 price will be quite tempting to a lot of people. The monthly prices in the UK are going to be really critical. If they can get those down and keep deposits and APR down and that kind of thing, then I think a lot of people will go for it, because it really is a nice blend, I think, of being both really convenient for things like the school run and nipping to the shops because it's quite compact, and yeah, it feels comfy and sort of substantial enough to also do the family trips at the weekend further up the motorway to see family and that kind of thing.
As for real-world range, we saw 4.3 miles per kilowatt hour on our varied summer route on the roads around Turin for the 600e international launch. That's good for a range of 220 miles, while we would expect to see that drop to around 180 miles in winter, with the standard heat pump helping with winter efficiency.
I like it. I really do like it. I think perhaps the Jeep's got a bit more gumption to it style-wise. I don't know, maybe the sort of cheerfulness and the slickness and the Italianness of the 600e will win people over. I do think that longer range cars like the MG4, even arguably when you look at things like the ID3, which is quite a bit bigger, it has got a lot of competition, this car. So you're going to specifically have to want a car that's not too big and that has that sort of style focus, I think, to choose this over some of those rivals. Even so, it's a well-rounded product, it's got a lot going for it, and I do genuinely really like it. And that is the new Fiat 600e.
Don't forget to head to cargurus.co.uk for a whole host of fantastic used cars. And while we've got you, please do like the video, subscribe to the CarGurus UK YouTube channel and turn your notifications on so that you don't miss any of our videos.